Have you ever made a decision you were so sure about and watched it all fall apart anyway? Or felt a gut feeling so strong, so loud, so certain that you organized your whole life around it only to realize later it wasn't your intuition at all? It was fear, dressed up as clarity, wearing your intuition's clothes. And here's the part that messes with women the most. From the inside, they feel identical. Same body, same nervous system, same knowing, same urgency. The same voice that's been telling you to leave or to stay or to wait or to run might not be the wise part of you at all. It might just be the part of you that learned a long time ago how to keep you safe. And those two things are not the same. In this video, I am going to walk you through the actual difference between intuition and conditioned fear response. How to tell them apart in your body, in your decisions, in your daily life, and why trust your gut might be some of the worst advice you've ever taken seriously. Because if you can't tell the difference between the two, you'll keep calling self-abandonment intuition, and you'll keep wondering why your life isn't changing. So a quick note before we get into it, I'm making this video because Live Your Best Life left a comment asking me to talk about self-trust, and I want to say thank you because this topic is one of the most misunderstood pieces in inner work. Most content on self-trust sounds like trust yourself. You already know the answer. Your intuition is never wrong. And that's not entirely true. Your intuition isn't always speaking. Sometimes it's quiet, sometimes it's been quiet for years. And what's speaking instead is something that sounds like intuition, but is actually a much louder part of you doing a job it learned to do when you were too young to know better. So this video is for you, live your best life, and for every woman who has ever said the words, I trusted my gut, and then wondered why she ended up exactly where she didn't want to be. So let's get into it. The gut isn't one signal. It's two systems wearing the same costume. Here's the first thing no one tells you. When people say trust your gut, they're treating the gut like it's one clear voice, a wise inner compass, a built-in GPS, a direct line to your higher self. And sometimes, yeah, it is. But sometimes what you're calling gut is actually your nervous system in a stress response. It's your body remembering something that hasn't happened yet because something like it happened before. It's your protector running an old program. It's the part of you that learned somewhere along the way that unfamiliar equals unsafe. And the tricky thing is both signals show up in the same place. Same chest tightness, same stomach drop, same, I just know. So when a woman tells me my gut is telling me to leave, or my gut is telling me he's the one, or my gut is telling me to take the job, my first question is never, what is your gut saying? My question for that woman is, which part of you is talking right now? Because there's a version of you that knows what you actually want and a version of you that's been protecting you for so long, she started to sound like wisdom. And until you can tell them apart, self-trust is not actually possible. Let me explain what's actually going on in the body. Your nervous system has one primary job. It's not to make you happy. It's not to make you fulfilled. It's not even to help you grow. Its job is to keep you alive. And to do that, it scans your environment, your relationships, your decisions, and your body constantly for anything that resembles a past threat. That's it. That's the whole operating system. So when you start considering a decision that feels new, that requires you to leave something, that asks you to be more visible, that involves risk, uncertainty, or change, your nervous system doesn't ask, is this aligned? It asks, have I survived this before? And if the answer is no, or worse, if the answer is something like this hurt me once, your body sounds the alarm. That alarm feels like dread, panic, a deep urgent no or yes, pulling you back towards what's familiar, even when the familiar is not good for you. And that signal is so convincing because it's coming from the same place your real intuition lives, the body. So here's the actual definition I want you to walk away with. Intuition is information. A trauma response is protection. They feel similar, they're not the same. And the rest of this video is going to teach you how to tell which one is talking. So marker one is direction of pull. The first way to tell them apart is to ask, is this pulling me towards something or away from something? Intuition tends to pull you forward towards something honest, something expansive, towards something that often feels unfamiliar, even uncomfortable, but somehow also true. A trauma response pulls you away. It pulls you away from risk, pulls you away from visibility, from anything that resembles a past hurt. Usually back towards whatever feels more familiar, even when the familiar is exactly what you've been trying to leave. And here's the misread that traps a lot of women. Fear feels like certainty. It feels loud, urgent, like I just know. But real intuition is usually quieter than that. It's almost boring. It doesn't argue, it doesn't panic. It just keeps gently saying the same thing. So if the gut feeling is screaming at you, if it feels urgent, if it feels like you need to decide right now or something terrible will happen, that's not your intuition. That's your protector. And she means well, but she's not always right. Marker 2, body signature. The second way to tell the difference is your body itself, because intuition and fear live in completely different physiological states. Real intuition lives in a regulated nervous system, and it feels like a settled breath, a quiet chest, a soft sense of knowing, a calm yes or a calm no that doesn't need to defend itself. And a trauma response lives in an activated nervous system. It feels like the tight chest, shallow breathing, racing thoughts, urgency, a sense of needing to do something right now. You could find yourself bracing or gripping, a yes or no that has to be loud to feel real. And this is a part I really want you to hear. If your body is bracing, it is not your intuition talking. Your intuition doesn't need braced. It doesn't need to grip. It doesn't need to convince you. So before you make a decision based on a strong feeling, pause. Check your body first. Are you regulated or are you activated? Because the decision made from activation is almost never the decision you make from your actual wisdom. It's the decision your protector wants you to make the feeling stop. And those are very, very different things. Marker number 3, the timeline test. The third way to tell intuition and fear apart is to watch the signal over time. Real intuition is consistent. It says the same quiet thing on a Tuesday morning as it does on a Saturday night. It says the same thing in a regulated body as it does on an activated one. It says the same thing whether you just got off the phone with your mom or whether you've been alone all day. It is steady. A trauma response is reactive. It changes based on what just happened. It changes based on who you just talked to or on what you just scrolled past. It changes based on what someone just said about you. It is loud after a fight and quiet after good sex. It is screaming when you're tired and silent when you're rested. It is reactive. So here's the question to ask yourself. Is this feeling consistent in my body across different states or only when I'm activated? If a gut feeling only shows up when you're stressed, scared, triggered, or overwhelmed, that's not your gut. That's your protector. If a knowing keeps showing up in a regulated state, in an activated state, in the morning, at night, after a hard day, after a peaceful one, that's something else. That's the signal worth listening to. Now, this is the part I really want you to slow down for, because here's what happens to a lot of women who have spent years overriding themselves, years saying yes when they meant no, years staying when they wanted to leave, years performing instead of living. At some point, their intuition goes quiet. Now, it's not gone, it's just quiet, because if you ignored a signal long enough, your body learns there's no point in sending it. It learns you're not going to listen anyway, so it stops trying. And then one day, you decide you want to trust yourself. You want to follow your intuition. You want to listen to your gut. And you sit there, and you hear nothing. Or worse, you only hear fear. And you panic because you think the silence means you're broken, that you've lost your inner compass, that something is wrong with you. Here's the thing. You're in the part of the rebuild where the signal hasn't fully come back online yet. And that's not a self-trust failure. That's a body that needs to learn it's safe to speak again. And this is where most women give up because they get frustrated. They say, I don't know. I don't know what I want. They say, I can't trust myself. My intuition isn't working. And then they go back to overriding themselves, which keeps the signal quiet. And ultimately, it keeps them stuck. So if this is where you are, if you've been trying to hear yourself and only getting static, please hear me. That's not failure. That's the beginning. The signal comes back slowly through small choices, small honesties, small moments where you choose yourself even when no one's watching. Not through one big decision, through 100 tiny small decisions. And here's the part most videos on self-trust skip. The actual practice, because trust yourself is not a practice, it's a slogan. So if you're trying to rebuild a real relationship with your own knowing, here's where I'd start. Stop making big decisions from activation. If your body is bracing, gripping, panicking, or urgent, that is not the moment. You need to regulate first. Go for a walk, take a nice big breath in and exhale. You could sleep on it, cry it out, then ask the question again. If the answer is the same in a regulated body as it was in an activated one, okay, that's worth listening to. If the answer changes once you're calm, your protector was driving, not your wisdom. Second, start with small honesties. You don't rebuild self-trust by making the huge decision. You rebuild it by telling yourself the truth about small things. Do I actually want to go to dinner? Am I actually hungry? Do I actually like this person? Small, daily, boring. This is the work. 3, keep tiny promises to yourself. Self-trust is not built by feeling trustworthy. It is built by being trustworthy to yourself. If you say you're going to do something for you, do it. If you say you're going to stop something, stop it. Not perfectly, just consistently enough that your body starts to believe you mean it. Because here's the truth no one tells you. Your body has been watching for years. It's been keeping score of every time you said you were going to choose yourself and then you didn't. And it's not going to suddenly trust you because you decided you want to be the woman that has self-trust now. It's going to trust you when you prove it, slowly in small ways, over and over. That's how the signal comes back online. So here's what I want to leave you with. Trust your gut is not bad advice because your gut is wrong. It's bad advice because most women have never been taught the difference between their gut and their fear. And without that difference, every decision becomes a guess. Every feeling becomes suspicious. And self-trust feels impossible. So if you've been telling yourself you can't trust yourself, I want to offer another possibility. Maybe you can. Maybe you just haven't learned which voice is which. Maybe the work isn't to trust yourself more. Maybe the work is to get quiet enough, regulated enough, and honest enough with yourself that you can finally tell the difference between the part of you that knows and the part of you that's afraid. Now, both parts of you matter. Both parts of you are trying to help, but only one of them is wise. And learning to tell them apart is one of the most important things you'll ever do. So again, to live your best life, thank you for asking this question. I hope this gave you something to work with. And to everyone watching, if this resonated, I created a free guide called Reconnect with Your True Self. It's designed to help you start hearing yourself again, especially if you're in the quiet stage where the signal hasn't fully come back up yet. The link is in the description, and if you want more conversations like this one, identity, nervous system, the actual work of becoming yourself again, hit subscribe because that's what we're doing on this channel. Let me know in the comments, have you ever mistaken fear for intuition? And curious, what did it cost you? I'd love to hear.